Alright, well, we are in Chapter 3, so let's go look at the warrior record. 80%! We almost there. June 1868. Edo Castle had given its official surrender to the Imperial Army, and soon the city was swarmed with soldiers clad in Western-styled uniforms. All soldiers and retainers still loyal to the shogunate were off heading north, fleeing for a better position. Even if Edo fell under the reign of the Empire of Japan, there was still plenty of war left to fight, and plenty of bodies left to fight it. Yay. Ow! Day by day, the huge laceration on my back was improving, but its inconvenient location made applying medicine somewhat miserable to do by myself. You have a very capable and willing boyfriend in your house with you, who I'm sure would be happy to help you with this. Ryouma had been kind-hearted enough to offer to put medicinal cream upon it. Medicinal. His head would pop in, and he'd slyly ask, "You sure you don't need help with that?" Since that location was a tad more intimate than, say, my arms or legs, asking him felt quite strange. Boy has literally opened your collar, pushed your kimono down your shoulders, and licked along your shoulders and neck. And your back, putting medicinal cream on your back is intimate? Oh, Chizuru. From what I recalled, he was currently somewhere near Itabashi to see how things played out, but I wondered if Nakaoka and the rest of the Furies were still there, waiting for him to rear his head. I heard the front door open, and then... Oh, thank goodness you're still here. Phew.
Oi, Chizuru. Sorry for keeping you. I figured you'd be hungry, so I brought you some tempura from the farmer's market. You like these, don't you?
Thank you! Huh? What's the matter? Why are you staring? I gasped, realizing why Ryouma was stone silent. He entered in the room while I was half naked, in the middle of changing my bandages. Ah! Get out of here! Ooh, bless you, Ryouma. I didn't even know it was possible.
Sorry, it wasn't on purpose.
That doesn't matter! Get out! Get out! Get out!
Alright, sheesh. I'm leaving. I'm going.
Run! Amazing. With that, Ryouma hurriedly left my sight, sniveling in the other room while I sheepishly finished changing my bandages. Sniveling? Poor boy. I just wanted to bring you some tempura.
Hey. Sorry about that. My fault for not asking if it was okay for me to come in.
Oh, it's fine.
But man, what a sight. Would have been a little sweeter if you didn't have the bandages and whatnot.
What are you suggesting? Forget that happened! I blushed, frantically turning away from Ryouma as he grinned with excitement. But eventually...
But what really lifts my spirits is seeing that you're recovering well. My heart nearly stopped when I saw you jump in the path of Nakaoka's sword.
Oh. The trauma of receiving that wound was ignited. I like that the blood's still red in our flashback. In the moment, I was controlled by an instinct to save Ryouma. I'm sorry for worrying you so much.
All of the stress will only add wrinkles to your face, but I've worried you plenty by now.
A faint twinkle glimmered in Ryauma's eye, and he reached to rest his hand atop my head. Aw, yay, head pats. His wide, coarse palm calmly patted my scalp, and I felt my heart pound inside of my chest with increasing vigor.
Chizuru, what's the matter? You seem to be in a daze.
Oh, nothing! Actually, I remembered what I'd wanted to ask. Have you learned of Nakaoka's whereabouts?
Nope. Mum's the word here, I suppose. I've asked Shiranui to look into any Furies currently serving in the Imperial Army's ranks.
I see.
Never thought Nakao could give into the taste of blood. Looked like a maniac, didn't he?
The image of Nakaoka's shifty, erratic eyes sent a chill down my spine. He drank the water of life around the same time as you, didn't he? It begs the question of why he would have gotten so riled up from his bloodlust.
Perhaps it's an indication that he's gotten used to the taste of blood. Far more than I have.
I fell silent, struggling to find anything meaningful to say in response to Ryouma's supposition. If that were the case, then... I'm sorry. An apology was all I could muster.
For what? Don't be silly, and stop feeling sorry for yourself. It's unbecoming.
Well, I am. The person responsible for inflicting this condition upon you and Nakaoka is my father.
Does it bother you that much? Like I've told you, this is a new age. Daughters shouldn't feel made to atone for the sins of their fathers. Way I see it, you're damn near perfect.
There was no doubt in my mind that Ryouma's sentiment was genuine, but there was much for which I had to atone, knowing that my father was the mastermind.
Enough of the pity party. It's just you and me here. Let's focus on the positives, okay?
But...
No buts. This pouty face you've got on is adorable, but don't waste your sadness on yourself.
Snapping out of it was easier said than done, but... I welcomed having Ryouma around to talk me out of my bouts of anxiety. So then, what did you want to discuss?
Well, why don't the two of us start listing the things we like about the other person?
Okay. What? Why?
Here, I'll start. What I like about you is... you're honest, and sincere about it too. I admire how you wear your heart on your sleeve. Okay, your turn.
I'm not good on the spot.
Don't tell me you can't think of one thing that you like about me. There's gotta be something.
As Ryouma described things that he liked about me, I felt sheepish, my cheeks blushing intensely. Having to do the same in front of him was nerve-wracking, and I shook as the words came out. Well, you're so cunning, and you're good on your feet. I guess.
Oh, I see. That's what you love about me, huh?
What do you mean, love? I was only saying what came to mind.
Fine then. I'll go next. Something else I find attractive about you is... whenever we embrace, your scent is so sweet.
Like I said. I wonder who's gonna be here. For some reason, my mind's immediately going to Dr. Matsumoto. I don't know, because I'm like, maybe he came to give us more medicinal cream, but it could also be Shiranui. Whoever it is, you have poor timing. I was enjoying this very much. Well.
Ahem. Greetings, you two. Pardon me for interrupting your sickening game, but would you mind welcoming your guest?
Ah! As I rushed to glance over my shoulder, I saw... It was Shiranui. Shiranui comes in at the worst times. Like, they're still at it again. Oh, so funny. Shiranui, when did you...
For some time now. Neither of you took notice because you had been too busy with your cloying affections.
Come off of it. You're being mean-spirited. If you were aware of what was going on, then why hadn't you thought to give us space?
I owe you no such courtesy. The only reason I'm even bothering to visit you is because we share a common mission.
So, how'd it go? See any Furies marching with the Imperials over to Aizu?
No, I couldn't find any Furies among them. However, I noticed a black ship docked at Edo Bay with a Satsuma Choshu insignia.
I see. Wherever could it be off to?
What's this about a Satsuma Choshu black ship docked at Edo Bay?
Enomoto, one of the shogunate's top lackeys, has sailed a black ship over north with whatever fragments are foolish enough to follow. The Satsuma Choshu caught wind of this, and are gathering any available black ships from any domain serving under the Empire of Japan.
What? It wasn't the news itself that surprised me, but rather the confirmation that Edo was under total jurisdiction of the Imperial Army.
In any case, I am needed elsewhere. I shall leave you as you were, then.
Right. Thanks for all that.
Spare me your thanks. I am merely doing what Akatsuki could not.
Shiranui lowered his head curtly and briskly left my homestead without another word. Bye, Shiranui. Thanks for visiting. Silence fell upon us once more. The wily, eager expression on Ryouma's face had vanished. He couldn't let Nakaoka and the rest of the Furies go on living, but feasibly, we had no means to locate them, let alone defeat them were we to discover their location. Meandering in this hopeless uncertainty took its toll on Ryouma, regardless of how cheerful he acted. I searched for ways that I could comfort him, pursing my lips in contemplation. Hey, Ryouma, would you be interested in seeing the ships with me?
Ships?
Yes, the ones that Shiranui mentioned. There are black ships arriving and departing from Edo Bay, aren't there? Aren't you passionate about naval ships, Ryouma? Why don't we go for a change of pace? I braced myself for disappointment, ready to hear that Ryouma wasn't in the mood to go anywhere.
I could think of worse things to do, but you sure you'd feel up to it? A salty breeze might sting your gash.
This is nothing. I am a demon, after all. I'm sure that in a few days my injury will be all healed up.
I see. Noted. A stroll sounds great, then. Fresh air is always nice.
Okay, I'll get dressed right away. Do you ever change out of your boy's disguise now that you don't really have to be disguised as a boy? Or have you just gotten so used to it? Edo Bay was just as Shiranui had described it, filled with ships emitting a thick, odoriferous smoke. The ships were arranged side by side, almost like enormous whales resting on their stomachs. Strangely, it resembled a magnificent foreign port.
Man, I can't believe the size of those things. My ship was pretty big, but those... You could fit 2 of my ships in that cargo deck. Say, it's been nearly 15 years since Perry came to visit Uraga, hasn't it? You remember, don't you?
An American naval commodore who, by written decree of the President of the United States, helped bring foreign influence into Japan by encouraging the opening of its port cities to trade. Well, no. I was a child then. The only recollection I have of that event is a neighbor I had who made a fuss over the whole thing.
When he arrived, I just happened to have been stationed in Edo for some naval training. Then I caught sight of his ship with my own eyes.
Oh, really? The look on your face tells me it still excites you. I can only imagine how you must have reacted then.
In those days, the idea of Japan having ownership of a black ship like America or Europe was unthinkable. A far-off dream.
Right.
Nowadays, they're tools for warfare, but... Black ships initially weren't designed for combat, you see.
Hadn't you mentioned how much better your life would have been had you become a ship captain?
Oh yeah, I told you that. How'd you remember?
Well, I'd never heard anyone with those kinds of aspirations before.
Can't tell if I should take that as a compliment or if you think I'm strange, but... Let's call it a compliment, for both of our sakes, eh?
A look of admiration stretched across Ryouma's face as he stared once more at the breathtaking row of ships.
Oh, What I'd give to leave everything behind and set sail on the open sea.
I wonder if we'll have our own little boat in the epilogue. That'd be kind of a sweet ending. I wouldn't mind that at all. Whenever Ryouma mentioned the ocean, his eyes lit up with a childlike sparkle. Somehow it always coaxed a smile out of me.
What's up? You've got a funny grin.
Oh, nothing. The joy on your face is unmistakable. I suppose I'm just glad that I was able to accompany you here.
Ah, that's right. When the two of us were still in Kyoto, we took that romantic walk beside the river.
Yes. That was when you had first regaled me with stories of your life in Tosa, about your older sister and the rest of your family.
That's quite a memory you've got. I've almost lost track of all the stories I've told you by now.
How could I forget? That day was one of the best I've ever had.
Ah, but of course.
Our conversation mellowed, overtaken by the rhythm of waves crashing it beside us against the dock. Neither one of us spoke for a moment, but there was nothing awkward or uncomfortable about our silence. Just us and the sea. Until...
I've never known a greater peace than the one I feel whenever I'm with you. Used to think that it was just your charm, or maybe your candor, that enticed me, but... I'm learning that there's more than meets the eye with you. Guess I understand the whole perfect pair thing now.
What are you talking about?
Being with you means that I can act like myself. My true self.
What? You think too highly of me.
No, I don't. Despite how I might come off, I've got myself a keen eye. One that can tell who's real and who's fake. For me, the ideal woman is the one who'd let me be myself. Seriously.
His sudden mention of what constituted an ideal woman got me to blush, though I tried to hide it. Ahem. Was there a motive behind his decision to share this admission with me? Or was it simply an act of courtesy? Yes, I'm sure it's an act of courtesy. Ryouma was several years my senior, a well-traveled adventurer who was far wiser than me. His compliments were likely just that, and I would be betraying myself to call something deeper from them. Please, don't poke fun at me. Besides, the only reason the two of us are together is because we're working towards similar goals, right? From the moment the questions escaped my lips, a bolt-like pain pierced through my heart. But there was a kernel of truth to it. For now, the two of us were engaged in a platonic arrangement, one born from mutual interests. As soon as Ryouma had finished dealing with Nakaoka, and I with my father, then it meant our arrangement had served its purpose, thus meaning our ties would sever. There was nothing I could do to guarantee Ryouma sticking around once we had dealt with the targets of our ire, and he would be free to go on living his life.
What? You mean to say you're unhappy with how we're taking things?
What? I didn't say that!
You've been putting up with my antics for a while now. You've got a good head on you. I've been chipping away at your barrier bit by bit, but you're still immune to my charms. A real first.
Like I said! Still, I was stuck in limbo, unsure whether or not taking Ryouma's word at face value was worth it. You're really making this poor boy work for it, man. How much of it was heartfelt, and how much of it was the same act you'd used on red light courtesans? Ooh, ouch. I mean, it's a good question to ask, though. Perhaps I was too caught up in feeling vulnerable, or, as Ryouma had put it, wearing my heart on my sleeve. I'm very thankful for all the help you've given me so far. For now, this is the best that I could respond with.
I see.
His voice dropped to a low pitch, and he ran his fingers through his dark, wavy hair as a brisk gust of wind gently swept his bangs in front of his face. You really love this boy's hair.
You're a sharp girl. I'm sure you see right through me. All the aching turmoil in my heart.
Like, from how you want to... yeah, I mean, that's his lifelong friend. I mean, yes, this too, but primarily this. Find a way to save Nakaoka? Yeah, I got you, boo.
Ah, so I was right. You can see right through me. An encouraging sign that our relationship can and will be built upon a foundation of trust.
Hold on. What do you mean by our relationship? You can't! How dare you cut there? What did he do? Just like, looks out to sea for the next several hours. The cuts in this route are killing me. Oh, it's so funny. The ocean dazzled with orange twinkles as the sun dipped into the horizon, which Ryouma and I observed quietly.
I mean, it's not like I've no idea where Nakaoka is coming from. For a period of time, I held a grudge against all these uppity retainers too. They treated men like us like the dirt beneath their feet, all because we were born in a field and they were born in a castle. We aren't dogs. But nowadays, every country west of here has their eyes on Japan. Over here, all we hear about is what the Satsuma, Choshu, Tosa, Ronin, or retainers do on a daily basis. I'm damn near sick of it. There couldn't be a worse time for domains to get caught up in petty squabbles. But erasing the lines drawn in the sand is a lot tougher than it sounds.
If there were more men like Ryouma leading the shogunate, or even the Satsuma or Choshu domains, it convinced me to think that maybe our country wouldn't be suffering its current political disarray. Even Nakaoka, who was cut from a similar cloth to Ryouma, seemed more concerned with instigating a bloody revolution instead of ushering peace. The ideological disconnect was fraying our country at the seams, but there was no solution in sight. As I became consumed with grave thoughts... Hello? All of a sudden, an arm, clad in a snug, tailored sleeve, had wrapped itself around my hips. Does it belong to the boy we're on our romantic boat-watching date with? Okay, good. I'm like... It'd be funny if just some other guy came and did that at this moment. Like, excuse me? Ryouma? Hello? The act itself startled me, and my eyes quickly darted at Ryouma. Are we getting smooches? Is it happening? This is like smooching music, even though it's chapter 3. What's happening?
Just bear with me for a second, okay?
Ryouma wore a stoic expression that froze me within his embrace. By now, he was developing a penchant for grabbing me out of the blue. True, but it was something that still took some getting used to. This time, however, my heart felt ready to burst out of my chest, far more than in his previous attempts. Ooh, I like the lighting.
Remember what you asked me a few days ago? You posed the question of where I had intended to go once my business with Nakaoka was done. At the time, I couldn't think of anything. But I think I finally settled on an answer.
Ryouma coolly nudged my chin upward with his fingers, and our eyes locked. Come on, kiss. I couldn't turn away, nor had I wanted to, and I began to drift into the warm pool of his irises. What is it? I eked the question out, but felt silly for doing so. He saw through me just as easily as he claimed I did him. Then...
I want to set sail on a ship of my own, which wouldn't be complete without you as my first mate.
Mate, eh? In every way that can be implied, winku winku?
Would you do me the honor of joining me?
His candid way of detailing the future he had envisioned for us was so honest and intimate. Alright, I'm here for this boating around the world with him. Sign me up. After all of this was over, Ryouma grasped onto the hope that the two of us would continue our... whatever this was. I stood in disbelief. As my heart skipped a beat, I felt speechless.
Answer me. What do you think? I mean, we could try taking things one step at a time if that's what you prefer. I'd much rather hear how you feel about it in your own words, though.
Ryouma was perceptive, almost annoyingly so, but he exploited this trait of his through assertive negotiation. At this stage of our relationship, my feelings for him should have been clear as day. I want to go. Anywhere you go. Another day without your company is a day I can't bear to live. My intense longing to express my love for him had finally been relieved, though my heart could barely keep up. However, the manner in which Ryouma's eyes narrowed gave me the impression that my answer was inadequate. Oh, I'm sorry. Do have?
Do you have feelings for me?
Color flooded my cheeks, but my inexperience with matters of the heart felt painfully exposed. The longer he stared into my eyes, the more I wished to do away with any further attempt at coyness. Alright, girls admitting it! Yes! Confession and kiss time, come on! Let it happen! Yes, I do. More than you could begin to imagine. His eyes lit up as I muttered my response.
You've no idea how long I've wanted to hear that.
Then he shut his eyes and pressed his face forward. What was he doing? What does it mean? My body was rigid as I closed my eyes. Well, it's a half teeth on teeth? I don't know. I can't see from her side whether it's teeth on teeth for sure. Squint. I'll take it though. It's a very sweet kiss anyway. I took a deep breath, and soon our lips were locked. As we kissed, sparks tingled throughout my body. All of my doubts seemed to vanish, as if Ryouma's heart was sending delicate signals directly to my own. Ryouma was voracious but gentle, barely containing himself as he guided my tongue in his warm mouth. Ah! Okay, it's that kind of kiss. Go on. At any second, I felt ready to melt into his arms. Or I could savor it, letting the taste of this tender moment burn into my mind forever. It was a sensation that was as frightening as it was addictive, but I craved it even before it was over. My heart, for the first time in ages, was satiated. Hooray! Only with reluctance had I let Ryouma pull his lips away from mine. His smirk told me he took notice. What kind of man was I falling in love with? The best kind, girl. I was in a daze, spinning with all sorts of fantasies, despite the man in my dreams standing in front of me.
For the longest time, it was so unclear to me why fate gave me a second chance at life. Maybe fate planned for me to be here with you, tasting the sea salt on your precious lips. Chizuru, I was put here in this world to be yours. I swear to you that I'll prove it, each and every day. I won't ever let you go, no matter what happens.
Oh, okay. Ryouma's vow and the passionate kiss that preceded it turned the embers burning in my heart into roaring flames, and I nodded out of sheer joy. This is amazing. I love this.